Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for keeping time. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the Africa Dialogues, Fostering Strategic Partnerships for Business Growth. My name is Jessica Maisa, and I'll be your moderator for today. To go ahead, we'll go through some house rules, housekeeping. We need to have some rules so we can have a better session. Just a minute as I move my slides.
Maybe for those cool questions that you normally have in the beginning of the call.
Okay.
Oh, okay. My question is, do you guys believe in ghosts?
Okay. Moving my slides. Throughout the session, I'm going to ask you to keep your mics on mute unless you are speaking to and asking a question. Please keep your mics muted. This session is being recorded, so please, as you participate, you're also consenting to being recorded. That is no big deal. That is just for future reference. So we can put this on our YouTube channel, and you can then refer back and share with your community, with your network as well. If you have a question in between the session, you can post them on the chat, and our team will make sure that your questions are answered at the end of the session. Okay. Could you please help me mute? Oh, thank you. We're here to have a dialogue and make sure that we get out of the session with learnings and take something out of it at the end. So make sure that you participate, engage, don't be shy. We're all here to learn at the end of the day. So please participate, and engage. Respect each other's opinions. That goes without saying. Let's make sure that we're respecting our perspectives so that provides us a better learning experience. I'm today joined by my colleagues, Brenda Malloy, our market lead for South Africa. I'm joined by Leah, our market advisor for Nigeria. And the reason why we are all here, because we always bring the best of the best for you, we have our speaker, Leah Molatseli, South African lawyer, specialized in legal tech and business development. So she's also an entrepreneur, over 10 years of experience in the industry. So you know she's going to drop some gems. So please be tuned in and engage. She is also the owner of Contract Alchemists and a legal tech expert, Mandela Washington awardee, and one of the most influential women in legal tech for 2022. I can go on and on about her, as you can see, but I'll allow her to do it herself. Leah, the mic is all yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I'm very excited to share some insights. If you can just hold on, I'm about to share my screen. Let me know if you can see it.
Yes.
Is it visible?
Yes, you're good.
Perfect. My name is Leah Molatseli. So I've been invited today, which I'm very grateful for. Thank you for the opportunity to the team at WEConnect. I've been invited to talk about strategic partnerships. I'm really going to try to make it as short as possible, with the purpose, obviously, this is supposed to be a conversation and a dialogue in order to give us more time, in order to have a conversation. So, for me, today's core question will really be about answering what are some of the effective tips and how can you secure strategic partnerships and how you can actually apply all of these in your career or in your business. For me, in the first bulk of the session, will be focused around what I did personally in my own business and career, but this is applicable across industries, irrespective of where you are. Principles, the core principles of how to build strategic relationships remain the same. And then after that, I'll have a look at the examples, real world examples of what strategic partnerships looks like. And then lastly, I'll just share some real world in terms of if you are a particular person in an industry, what that looks like. So first of all, a quick summary. So I'm a lawyer. I've been admitted as a lawyer since 2012. But I got bored, and then I figured, you know what, the world is changing and a lot is happening in technology, and I feel like I want to be part of that particular journey. So for the past couple of years, I've worked towards positioning myself as a legal technology and innovation specialist. And currently I run my own company called Contract Alchemist. So there it's focused around integrating technology for the legal industry and what that looks like for them in terms of creating efficiencies. Because the biggest challenge that I realized for us as lawyers is we do great work, but there's a lot of bottlenecks in terms of how we communicate with clients, how we give them updates. And for me, technology fit the bill in terms of actually cutting out those bottlenecks. I'm a published author. I published with Juta a couple of years ago. I speak a lot at a bunch of events, won some awards, one of them being Woman of Legal Tech is recognized by the American Bar Association. In my pastime, I enjoy sitting on boards and providing strategic guidance, including CLOC. So for us in our community, CLOC is the Corporate Legal Operations Consortium, which is the biggest consortium of legal operationals in the world. And then I also sit in the Global Legal Tech Hub in Spain. So there are actually 10 key points that I'm going to focus on, but it's only the highlighted one that we're going to deep dive in. The whole point of today is trying to give you some tidbits around how you can actually start in fostering strategic relationships. So the first one is around identifying your potential partners, ensuring that there's alignment between you and your potential partner, how you can start leveraging your current network, because oftentimes I think it's so hard, especially if you are starting out or if you don't come from a privileged background, it's kind of hard. Especially if it's in a very niche area. So it's always good to understand how you can actually leverage what you already have. And one key thing is also being able to showcase your value proposition. And one thing I've also realized personally is that you actually need to build the relationship first before they ask. Typically what happens is we usually ask and then try and build a relationship. And that's actually supposed to be vice versa. You need to be transparent, you need to communicate, and obviously you need to start small. But you need to also ensure that there's some form of mutual benefits between the two of you and whoever you're going to engage with. And always a lawyer, despite the fact that I no longer practice, but it is important to actually formalize any type of partnership agreement that you enter into. And then lastly, I mean, this is a process. You need to iterate. Your business needs also change in terms of the type of partnerships that you need. So you always have to evaluate and iterate as need be. The first point has to do with identifying your potential partners. This looks like, for example, in my field, that meant I needed to look at ancillary areas. So even though I was a lawyer, I knew that in order for me to actually gain more ground, I need to attach myself to people, even if they're not within my space immediately. I need to attach myself to anything that is providing services or providing support to lawyers. And this is why you find me being in organizations such as legal ops. Still lawyers, but they're not practicing. Whereas my core target market are lawyers who are practicing. Then secondly, whatever space that you're in, if there's an industry association, that helps quite a lot because you get the opportunity to actually build out trust and scale your trust just by association. So that is important because the moment if it's a industry body and you are recognized by it, it makes you more credible. And then for me personally, in terms of the type of impact that I wanted to have, so beyond running a business and beyond sitting on boards, I recognize that I cannot impact change in my industry in isolation. So beyond the writing, I then decided to also partner with academic institutions. So this means I can actually attack legal professionals wherever they sit in their journey. So even if we're talking about someone who's in corporate, but if they want to study more, I partnered with the University of Cape Town where I lecture legal technology related courses. I partnered with a fellow colleague of mine. She runs her own legal innovation institute. So it's about really thinking around what you want and how you can scale the type of impact that you want. What is also important is aligning yourself. Unfortunately, especially if you are trying to get visibility, you have to consider aligning yourself with specific industry thought leaders. Now, typically, in normal terms, that would be what we would call, let's say, an influencer, in the traditional sense. But in a professional setting, what you are looking for is someone who makes sense in your industry, who is loud. And there are many of them. So it's also about understanding where your market sits. Second step for me, while you're trying to identify, I'd encourage you to try this method. So you look at your own industry and understand who is in my ecosystem, who are the players, because having that very high level overview will not only broaden your spec in terms of how can I leverage them, but it'll also assist you in terms of understanding which ones I can actually pick for a particular need. For example, in the legal tech ecosystem, obviously you have legal professionals. Then you have law firms. Those are our potential clients. Then you have legal departments. Those are the folks in corporate environments, but they're in the legal department. Then you have legal tech startups. Then you have traditional tech providers, court system, and so forth. So it's really, really understanding what type of relationship or what goal, what's your end goal that you want to achieve. For example, if I want more visibility, then I could easily partner, let's say, with one of the ecosystem builders. For me, what that looks like, it's people like, for example, they call them SALT. It's the South African Legal Tech Association. They are actually building an ecosystem around the legal technology and ops community. So you want to align yourself with them so that it actually improves your credibility score within your target market, because their target market is also lawyers and legal departments, which is my market too. So there's a mutual interest, a common interest. And the second one is leveraging your current network. I think, I grew up, anyone who knows me knows that I don't like people, like, at all. But one thing business will teach you is you will not eat if you don't speak, if you don't say, if you don't do anything. And it becomes a bit hard, especially if you're a natural introvert, in terms of putting yourself out there. Sometimes it then calls on you to start leveraging your current network. The reason why this is so important is because those are the people that you can get your recommendations from. Those are the people that you can push because you have some form of relationship with. You can actually push like, hey, could you please introduce me to XYZ? Another way that you can also do this is actually go to the events. Yes, there may be physical ones. And I heard through the Vine that WEConnect is going to have a physical event sometime during the year. That's a great opportunity for you to actually use. So figuring out what type of need you have in terms of your business and understanding within your network, who can I have a conversation with in order to actually get what I want. A couple of ways that you can do this. Like I said, I don't like people. I am unfortunately chronically always online, but it has worked quite well because it has meant I've been able to build incredible relationships from people. And sometimes it's not even about me just going to ask, but it's also around scaling your trust. Again, there's that word, you need to be able to scale your trust and aligning yourself with organizations, aligning yourself with literally creating some form of valuable content, for example. You're driving value. And the more conversations you're having through either you or through your business, you're constantly reinforcing a particular message to people around you that, you know what, she's serious. And automatically by that, you're actually scaling trust. And that's the magic for me that I've found of social media, because a lot of people think, oh, it's play. Yeah, it's fun. But you being able to solidify yourself in a particular way automatically assigns you a certain level of trust that even if you end up having to go ask a person for something or to partner with someone, they'll be like, oh, I like you. I know you, I see your posts, you really provide insightful content or whatever that looks like. And that's why it's so important for you to be consistent, and vice versa too. When people start seeing either you sharing your story in terms of your business story or sharing your own journey as a business owner in terms of founder, if an opportunity comes up, because remember, you're constantly reinforcing a particular message. This is who I am. This is what we do. This is what we believe in. And through that constant reinforcement, when an opportunity pops up, you will literally be the first one. I've had that happen to me multiple times where I didn't even think that I would end up doing something, but because I am very, very specific around how I position myself when an opportunity comes, I'm the first person or second or whatever that looks like, but at least they also come. And that's what you want, right? As a business, from a lead gen perspective, in terms of growing your business. That's why we have the marketing guys. I'm sure the marketing guys are so happy right now as I talk about marketing, because that's what it's about. Constant reinforcement, creating content that adds value, that can actually draw people in order for you to get those types of leads that you want. For me, the most effective way that I've actually used it, shockingly enough, when I started, was actually Twitter. There's a hashtag for everything. So literally, when I started, I just searched the hashtag legal tech. And then from that, because of the type of community that we have, I started seeing people that are in the space that are sharing their journey, that are sharing tips, that are sharing news, industry news in terms of what's happening. And then it blew up from there. So you could do that. LinkedIn is quite powerful. I know it can be a bit intimidating, but try it out. Switch up your photo a bit, upgrade your profile, your headliner, ensure that it makes sense. I find that either putting an association that you are connected with or something that spells out exactly what you do works better, because people already know from the header that, oh, she's making law better and contract alchemist. She was a winner of the American Bar Association. Who are you? Let me see. Let me have a conversation. And the same can be said about TikTok. I was shocked, and I mean, I'm a bit mature in age. My default is typically Google, and now recently with ChatGPT and all of that. But I was shocked when a colleague of mine, she's relatively younger, and she was about to give birth, and she said, no, I was checking out the options between this and this and this. And that is how powerful it is. So even for you, in terms of trying to understand more around how to build strategic partnerships, or even understanding how are others doing it, it's also a great platform for you to do that. And of course, WhatsApp, our good old trusted guy, always there. Don't sleep on those groups. They must never forget you. And then YouTube is also a great learning tool. The other thing, and I think this is quite difficult if you still have not understood your business truth around what is it that makes you unique. But it's an important step, because you cannot want to enter into a partnership with someone if you don't understand your business truth. So it's important that, because once you know that, then you understand, this is my value. So when you go and pitch, you'll be in a better position to demonstrate what that looks like. So what that looks like really from a practical perspective, it means you need to understand your business strengths and be in a position to also showcase, this is what my contribution to this partnership will look like. Whether it's in the form, let's say it's a marketing initiative, or it is in terms of numbers, whatever that looks like, you need to be able to be in a position to do that. And you can only do that if you understand your business truth. You need to know how to pitch. I'm not sure if it's fortunately or unfortunately, but it's one of those things. You need to be able to prepare your pitch, because once you understand, this is my value add, this is what I'm trying to achieve, and this is what my proposed partner is going to get, you need to start practicing that pitch. What does that look like? But at the end of it, you need to be able to demonstrate within that particular pitch how both of you are going to benefit from the arrangement. But it all starts with relationships. And I can't stress this enough. So I've done a bunch of stuff in my own career in terms of career moves. And there are certain opportunities that are coming now because of years of work. And not because, yes, sometimes that's very useful, especially if you're old school around picking up a phone and all of that. That's great. But there's some things where, because you've built up a professional relationship, or even an online relationship, because remember, it's about consistency, it's about showing and demonstrating value. Oftentimes, those opportunities are unlocked, not immediately, but it does happen. Now imagine what happens when you're clear, specific around what you're trying to do and who you are trying to engage and get into a strategic partnership. And the reason why it's so important to build those relationships first is because obviously you're trying to build trust and rapport. There's a saying that I heard some years ago. It said that business is built at the speed of trust. And it's true. Because when you think about it, you don't want to be doing business with someone you don't trust. And so that's why it's important for you in terms of your visibility, in terms of keeping your word, in terms of building that relationship, because it means there's some form of rapport. And if you come to the ask and actually start engaging and saying, hey, I feel like we should partner on XYZ, it becomes much smoother. And that can happen in the form of informal meetings. Try them. Send a DM or send an email. Say, hey, I'd love to catch up with you. If you can't go there physically, have a virtual tea or coffee. Talk about nothing. I promise you it helps. It helps, literally. Just checking in, hey, are you doing well? How's it going? How's business going? Or how's work going? How are the kids, if they're children? And things like that. Just try and build that type of rapport. And then, as always, I'm a huge fan of social media. Leverage it. A lot of times, I think we just do things because everyone is doing it. And that's why it's so important for you to understand your business truth, so that even when you start posting about your work, even when your business account is posting around what you're doing, you will then be consistent. Then after that, it makes it quite easier to actually collaborate on particular projects, or you can even suggest. And it doesn't have to be something crazy. It can be something as simple as, hey, let's have a LinkedIn audio event. You know, you have a thing that's going on or whatever that looks like, try and use that. Of course, my strengths are a bit more laid towards digital marketing, but if that's not your type of business, then do research and understand, oh, my people can usually be found on this particular platform. Because I'm more into the B2B market, my people live and breathe on LinkedIn. So that's where I focus. Your people might be on Facebook. So it means you need to optimize your content around that and understand how you're going to speak to them and try to see how you can get some form of collaborative project. Then, I mean, it goes without saying, no one will help you if they're not going to get anything out of it. So even if there's no real financial reward to the other party, the trick that I've used has been around understanding your value. So you just tell them, hey, if we reach X amount, then we can do 1, 2, 3, 4. So it really just depends also why you are engaging with the other person. If it's, let's say, in order for market reach, in terms of marketing and market awareness, it's something else. You can literally just say, hey, I'm based in Nigeria, and you want to enter into the Nigerian market and you're in South Africa. Let's do an online event together. So whatever that looks like for you, just ensure that the other person can also see the benefit around it, and always position it in a win-win scenario. Because one thing I've also realized is that if you don't do that, you're gonna come off as desperate, you know. And for those, you know, who've dated, you know what happens when a guy is just just there. It becomes irritating. So you don't want to be that potential business partner. You want to be that business partner who enters into negotiations from a position of strength and power, because it changes the dynamics in terms of how you negotiate and also how you position your pitch to them in terms of the type of collaborative partnership or direction that you want to take with them. Then the importance of it, just to loop it out, it's important because obviously you're going to share the risk, which is critical, especially if you're a small business and you're trying to mitigate your risks and so forth. Partnerships are great for that. They're also great for increasing your credibility and influence, because you're literally going to end up tapping into your partner's other forms of network. So if it's either from a marketing perspective, or let's say there's a collaborative article that you're going to speak on, those are the types of things that will expose you to their market, if that's what you want. Obviously, it also expands your network. There's a possibility that it might also enhance your own expertise and knowledge. Because, and I think one of the biggest things for me is ideas are not meant to be done in silos. It's not one of those things. And I know everyone is so protective. Oh, this is my idea. Oh, I'm gonna steal it. Here's the thing. No one can do what you do the way that you do it. There are multiple types of businesses similar to yours. Even me, multiple types of businesses similar to me. But no one does it the way that I do it. They cannot execute it the way that I can. And that's where the source is. And partnering and collaborating actually opens you up to also seeing, what are my colleagues doing? So if my colleague is in Kenya and this is how they do business, what type of principles, core principles, can I take and form here in South Africa? And obviously, some of the direct consequences of partnerships is actually driving innovation, because you start thinking up of new ideas in terms of how to do business and to drive growth. Then the other option is also having core access to certain types of resources. And that can be whatever that looks like for you. A couple of examples, I have 2 of them. The first one, because I'm in the technology space, I typically lean towards those. There's Microsoft and OpenAI. For those who don't know, they partnered well, and then they were able to build Copilot. And for us as general users, Copilot looks like when we are drafting, especially as lawyers, when we are drafting, we can use the tool in order to summarize, in order to draft quicker. It has some form of predictive analytics as you do what you do. That's great for the users, but for the developers, it's also great for them because it means that the AI can actually help them because it suggests code snippets and helps them in order to actually complete the code. And then from a technical perspective, because you find some solutions that are built on the Azure ecosystem, it helps in terms of understanding AI capacity, language models, and image recognition. And this is so important, especially for us. For example, in legal technology, we now have obviously ways of digitally contracting. So the solutions where you actually can just take a picture of the contract, and then once it's in the system, the OCR, which is the image recognition functionality, is able to pick up the words within an image. And it doesn't even need to look that fancy. You don't need to be taking that particular picture, let's say with an iPhone, but it's able to pick it up. And that's important just from an innovation perspective, from an efficiency perspective, from a productivity perspective. And a more local example for us, the South Africans in the room, in case you didn't know, Takealot owns both Mr. Delivery and Superbalist. And you know why that's such a great business strategic move? Is because at some point, Takealot realized that, hey, there's certain areas that we can reach. We want to service as many people as possible. We have a great platform, but we are unable to actually reach our customers and deliver those goods. Maybe they don't live in the city, maybe they live in the rurals and so forth. So they're like, oh, let's actually partner with Mr. Delivery. They're actually able to get to areas that we can't get to. That's strategy. That drives business growth, what we're talking about today. Superbalist. Superbalist, as you know, it's also a platform, but the market segmentation is different. They're more focused, I might call it maybe middle class, bougie, luxury. Totally different market segmentation in terms of where Takealot initially started with and what Superbalist actually offers. You combine the two, what does that look like? You expand your market reach in terms of your targeting. That is business growth. So that's why I said initially, you really, really need to decide what is it that you want. So this is just one very, very basic example of what a strategic partnership would look like. For example, let's say you are this beautiful photographer. Your business is that of photography. Now, there are multiple ways that you can do this, but I'm just using this as a way. So let's say one of your core services is actually taking wedding pictures. You know who you can partner with. You can actually partner with wedding cake makers. You can partner with wedding planners, and you become the actual default person who takes pictures at weddings. Because that is what, in real life terms, strategic partnerships looks like. Because you want to achieve a particular goal or aim in the context of growing your business. So whatever that looks like, say you are a cleaning business, or you make, for example, or you make cleaning material. Who should you be partnering with? I'm gonna let that sit so that we can start having a conversation. Or let's say you are in the agricultural side, agro-processing. What does that mean? Which partners should you be looking at? Maybe either farmers or local shops or like whatever that looks like. But yeah, we can have a conversation around it. I'm typically more practical. And that's why I said I wanted to make this super, super short. But a couple of key steps that I think will be valuable in order for you to take. One, is to understand your business strengths and weaknesses. Obviously, this places you in your position to know that even if your potential partner says no, but you don't have XYZ, you prepare. So you preempt that so that you are able to answer it even before. So you're not befuddled, you're not shocked. If someone says no, but you can't do this or you lack 1, 2, 3, 4, no, you're prepared. This also places you in a better position to actually pitch because you will know exactly what you're pitching for. Because partnerships also need to get some form of outcome out of it, whether it's a marketing or collaboration partnership, whether it's a merger or whatever that looks like, but it needs to fill in a gap, for example, that you wouldn't necessarily be able to fill. In the earlier example that I used around the photographer, that's a classic example of market access to market. So maybe she's not able to get clients on her own. She's like, oh, me partnering with a wedding planner, market access route created. So that is what that looks like. And that's why it's important for you to understand where your business is, its strengths and weaknesses. And then secondly, start creating that list. The same way that I did in terms of my ecosystem, it doesn't even need to be that high level. It can literally just be if you understood that I need market access partners, then start curating a list around who is my typical client, how many steps does it take in order for me to reach that client, and if it's too many steps or there's a blocker between me and reaching my client, who is the middle guy that can help me in order to get to my clients, you know? So asking yourself questions like that and then start. It'll never be perfect. You'll fumble. I mean, I've fumbled many times, but you learn and you grow. But more than anything, I hope you start working on those relationships. It's one of those long-term strategic things, unless, for example, right now, WEConnect is gonna hold a physical event, so forth. It's standard, it has a set time, it has time limits. So their pressure will be very different in terms of getting strategic partners versus you, even though it is important, but it is a long play in terms of leveraging that for purposes of you. And then that's it from my side. You can find me on LinkedIn or on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Thank you so much. Wow. That was a session. That was a session. I felt a lot of gems being dropped. So the floor is open. This is a dialogue, so I'm sure there's something there that resonated with you or that you might have a question about. So if you want to ask a question, and as you should, please raise your hand or unmute yourself and let's get this conversation going. Olutome.
Okay, so mine is not really a question, but just to reiterate a point that Leah made and that spoke to me. She said something. She said those opportunities while you're building, your strategy and you're doing your networking. She said those opportunities do not unlock instantly. So that speaks to patience, and that speaks to the fact that it's a journey, and we need to really be a little bit patient with ourselves and understand that it's a long haul, and not a plug and play. Sometimes it may fall for you immediately because there might be some very low hanging fruits. However, we need to understand that it's a long haul. And the second thing that she touched on that spoke to me was the talk about introverts and the fact that you have to just get off and be out there. You have to show up to be able to key into what's the opportunities are out there today. It's not very easy. It's not a very thing, not a very easy thing to do. And I could tell that Leah is also maybe an introvert herself, if she wants to if she wants to talk about that. I'm sure I could
You're
tell
correct.
immediately as well, and she had to overcome.
100% correct.
You see, I was able to tell that you're an introvert yourself, and you had to jump that hurdle. It's not an easy place for introverts, especially in today's world. So noisy. It's so noisy, and you have to cut through the noise. So thank you for sharing that, Leah. And thank you for coming on this dialogue series.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Elo. That was a good double down on the points that Leah made. I love it. I love it. In our chat, we have a few comments. Nyasha says, thank you for sharing those amazing insights, Leah. And also Rose says, thank you, Leah, for sharing. I feel like people are still absorbing everything that you said, because it's the real day-to-day of a business owner. I think I will just have one question for you. And Elo actually mentioned this as well. We live in a world where everyone is on social media. Every business has to be on social media. But how can you cut through the noise? How do you stand out to a point where you start attracting the people that you would like to partner with? Because like you said, it's not a matter of always asking for something. It's also positioning yourself in a way that people want to be in business with you. So how do you cut through the noise in today's world?
Maybe two things that I've seen. Actually, I'm lying, three things that I've seen. Two, it's my own personal experience, but one, I've seen how it works. So the first one is being authentic. Literally just be genuine. People can tell when you're being fake, and I don't know how to put this. Like, people can tell you are lying to us. They really can tell, like, you are lying. So be genuine around your journey. But obviously, there's certain limits. We don't want to know your whole life story, but be genuine in your process, in how you do business. That often works quite well because of there's so much noise and everyone wants to look perfect. People often will find themselves resonating with you because you're real and they see themselves through you versus creating this particular facade. That's one. And then secondly, value. You have to add value. There's a reason why, people are doing podcasts and they're getting millions in terms of doing it. There's a reason why they're YouTubers who are doing incredible things. There's a reason why people are following certain people. It's because there's clear, demonstrable value that you are giving. And you will never get to that point if you don't understand your business truth. You'll never get to that point. Because the thing also about value is that you need to be consistent. You can't post today and then 2 months later post. It doesn't make sense. And then the third one that I've seen that some businesses and even personalities do so well is building a community around them. You get people like, for example, Yoko. So if you want to drive more community-based of marketing, I'd encourage, everyone who's attending to actually look at Yoko. They're doing such a great thing of telling their stories through their customers. It's very customer-driven. If you really, really look at their content, it's very, very customer-driven. Even in terms of the type of questions that they're asking, it's like people start being seen. For example, earlier on, I think one of their taglines was something around the underdog. That's powerful. Even just hearing the underdog, it means you see me as a business. You see me. You want me to succeed. Yes, I'm the underdog. And that's powerful. So it's really around building a community around you and ensuring that you are telling the story either of your business or of your customers in a way that actually encourage others to share. Because once you start doing that, sometimes, look, everything for me is online. I may not necessarily use Yoko. And for those in the audience who don't know what it is, it's like a card payment machine, very snazzy. I may not be using it, but I know about them. And in the event that at some point in my life I'm going to use it, they're literally the company that I'm going to go to. They would also be my first pick in terms of recommending them to someone who needs a point of sale machine. And that's what you want people to do about you and your business, that even if they are not your target market, if they hear something, because people talk. I mean, there's a reason why you go on Facebook or WhatsApp, or you ask your family on Twitter or whatever that looks like for recommendations versus literally just going on Google. Because you trust the people around you, you trust the community around you. So you want your business to be that type of business that even if, look, I don't know what you're doing, but girl, kudos to you, I love it. And then they send you a client. Yeah, you want to always be top of mind.
Right. Thank you. Brenda, I see your hand.
Leah, thank you for sharing this evening. I think a lot of what you're saying is resonating, and a lot of us we'll travel down a road to explore and see what might work, what could work, and then somewhere along the line we get despondent. I think what you're speaking to in your career, as well as the advice that you're giving, speaks to the fact that you in being authentic, it would be natural for you to be sharing what it is that your product would be or your solution would be, right? And what you said about creating that ecosystem, if people understand that your voice is singular, your product is this, and if you're saying that as often as possible in as many rooms as possible, as you're saying, creating that ecosystem, having more and more conversations about what it is you do. For as long as you're being authentic, it's so easy to repeat yourself and to continue to show your passion and your interest. And that, I think, is where people are able to identify your authenticity. It may not be today that I have something I'd like to buy from you, but sure enough, should the opportunity actually come by my desk, should it come via a conversation, you are the person I would definitely think of because of how singular your voice is, your message is. It resonates each time. I think that's what you're saying. What I'd love to ask you about, Leah, is where do we get into the legal stickiness of using a lot of these apps for our businesses, right? In trying to discover which one is right for you, which one is right for your customers, where does the legalese come in for small businesses? When you're speaking about collaborating as well, where does the legalese come in when you are doing so without a physical product? It might be a service, but there's a collaboration in there. What should we look out for as women-owned businesses? There's 1,000 apps out there. Where do we need to cross our T's and dot our I's?
So in relation to the legal side of it, I'd encourage it from the get-go. Obviously, while you're building the relationship, it's more informal, you're getting to know each other. But once you get to that stage where you're now over the excitement, because sometimes you can really get so excited about something, but you don't really think it through. That's actually the stage where once you have like a basic idea of what you want to do, where then you need to get legal in. There are also a bunch of online legal services that are available, which I'm an advocate for, but it just depends on who you choose to use, because I know sometimes lawyers can be expensive. But as long, and that is important not only from a legal perspective, but it's important because it will also force you to start thinking, or even pay someone to think for you around, okay, let's say you have a campaign. You found this wonderful thought leader and you want to use this particular person to push your brand. So you were excited in the beginning, but then now when you get to the legal side, that's when you start getting into the nitty-gritty around what is it that you post? How often do you post it? What does a successful campaign looks like? oftentimes, especially because, in the digital space, an agreement might not necessarily be what we as lawyers look as an agreement, but it can be in a form of a conversation or an email where I'm sending this particular person the details of, this is the campaign, this is the wording that needs to be used, and this is what needs to be adhered to.
I think you're muted.
Do it.
Okay.
Wait, am I muted?
Hello,
I
this
think
is
we lost
Lucia.
a bit of the
Lucia,
Lucia,
Lucia.
yes, please go ahead.
Hello, how are you? Lucia from Uganda.
Hi, Lucia. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, thank you too for inviting me. Now, what I want to talk about is telling stories to customers. What I have realized about some women, they have very nice products, but to market their products is a problem because you can't market a product when you are shy. So some women, we have to first learn how to market our products. For example, I've been going to many exhibitions, but you can go to an exhibition, someone might be passing by, he or she doesn't bother to come to your store, but you can invite him in a polite way. Can you come and have a look at my sweaters, because I'm a manufacturer of sweaters? I've got customers like that. At the end of the day, they are not my target customers, but they come to my store and buy. And another trick I use, whenever I go, me as Lucia, I move with my business cards. When I find someone, I can just give you my business card. And someone asks, hey, you make sweaters. At the end of that day, you can get customers. So we have to talk about our business wherever you are. For me, even if I attend any conference and I did not introduce myself, when you get a chance of introducing yourself, you talk about what you are doing. So I get many customers when I do like that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lucia. That was a great insight.
That's amazing. I love the hacks.
Always be ready. Like that's what she said. Always be ready to sell your business, to present your business, to pitch your business. Never be shy, because you can't be a business owner and be shy. As much as you are an introvert, this is not the moment to be an introvert. This is not the moment to hide yourself and expect people to come to you. We're all in the jungle and trying to get our own, so don't be shy. I'm sorry for the beloved introverts, but just speak about it. Do we have any other questions, any other comments? Please unmute yourself and you can share it with us. I see Novi. I'm not sure if you muted yourself on purpose or not. Okay. We will move on with our program. We'll move on with our program. Before we do so, I would ask our speaker of the day, what would be, if you could leave us with like 3 key things in terms of access to markets, in terms of how can us and as women-owned businesses, as part of the WEConnect team as well, how can we leverage not only the knowledge that we have, the business that we own, but the opportunities that we're presented with. For instance, this dialogue is an opportunity. How can we leverage our businesses in order to see a difference from where we are today to where we want to be? If you could leave us with 3 things, because you also have a lot of experiences in business development. So what would be your 3 key takeaways for all the women-owned businesses in the room?
Start with the end in mind. Because I think sometimes we get so boggled down by the details in the beginning. It can be too overwhelming because you're going to start thinking this is too much in terms of I need to do this, I need to. So start with the end in mind. So for example, if your target is to get, let's say 100 customers by the end of the year, You start there and then you break it down. Then you break down to say, oh, what's 100 divided by these amount of weeks that are left? Because then it starts making it real. Okay, so after you get to that number, how many customers do I need to get per day? Okay, great. Now that I have that, what do I need to do in order to get that one customer a day? You know, so it gets so overwhelming. So start with your end in mind and then break it down into simpler action points that you can take in order to get to that end goal. And then the second thing, in terms of leveraging opportunities, I was expecting to see people, and I'm not sure how these Africa Dialogue works, whether everyone knows each other in here. Me, when I'm in these things, even me and my shyness, I'm there. Oh, hi, my name is Leah. I'm a lawyer. Here's my LinkedIn. Even if we're not having a conversation, because obviously there's a session going on, I've put in my details within the chat, and through the form, I'll get an invite. Oh, hey, it was great to meet you there. It's a conversation. It's a always, you know, then you start having conversations. And sometimes those types of partnerships actually start that organic because you're not starting from a blank page. You already know that we are in WEConnect together. It means we all want to grow our businesses. We want to create strategic partnerships. Easily share your LinkedIn. Please do. I really do encourage you to share whatever. Share it or whatever that looks like. And then you start having conversations, literally. What if we have two businesses that are in agri? Yeah, next thing, you have a multinational company because you decided to partner together. It starts like that. So just do it. I know it's so hard, but try it. You'll feel tired after it, but just try it. You'll never know the type of, because that's where you get the opportunities. An opportunity won't come to you. You actually have to put yourself in a position where you actually start getting lucky. And before I get, if you guys can try and look up Naval, it's NAVAL, 4 types of luck. Please, please, please have a look at that. It'll help you around rejigging your mind in terms of opportunities and how to start spotting them, how to be lucky.
All right. Okay. I know Naval. I've been following him for years, and I can tell you, you're missing out. If you don't know who he is, just follow him on social media. You'll see how to get lucky or how to position yourself for luck. Thank you so much, Leah. That was amazing. Now we're going to move on to a bit of announcements that we have for our community. Elo, can take it away.
Okay. Before I go to the announcements, maybe you can put his name on the chat so we can follow.
Yeah, sure. Doing it right now.
Great, thank you. Thank you. So we have a bit of announcements for you. I want to start by inviting you to business clinics. Our business clinics is our virtual knowledge series and networking event, knowledge sharing series and networking event. So as Leah has pointed out, yes, for Africa Dialogues as well as the business clinics, we are encouraged to speak and to network and to engage each other. So the business clinics is also a series, another series where we have an opportunity to do so. The next one comes up on Friday, the 21st of June, 10 a.m. South African Standard Time, 11 a.m. East Africa Time, and 9 a.m. West Africa Time. Secondly, I'll also like to invite you to join the We community and register your business. Registration is free. It's more like a self-service registration. You will only need to answer a few questions and then you proceed to self-register. Questions such as if your business is 51% owned by a woman or a group of women. Also, if you're having challenges with your registration on the website, the business clinics I mentioned earlier is also a good place to learn more, as we have a registration demo that shows you how to navigate the website. So I encourage you to be part of the next session, which comes on Friday, the 21st of June, 2024, 10 a.m. South Africa Standard Time, 11 a.m. East Africa Time, and 9 a.m. West Africa Time. Okay, also, I'm happy to announce that there's a 90-day coaching session free of charge to anyone who certifies after this program. Again, it is at no cost, at no additional cost to you. Fourthly, on our announcements is our Moody's Financing Your Business Bootcamp. Now, WEConnect International and Moody's Foundation have come together to create a live training program designed to empower women entrepreneurs to grow their business with a focus on sustainability. It's happening in Nigeria on the 16th, 17th, and 23rd of July, 2024, 8 a.m. to 12 noon daily. In Kenya, it's happening on the 25th of July, 2024. And in South Africa, it will happen on the 7th of August, 2024. Please feel free to reach out to me, Elo Iyayi for Nigeria, Brenda for South Africa, Frida in Kenya for any questions you may have for any of these markets. And do not forget to connect with us at LinkedIn. You heard Leah. Always be ready to connect. Just search WEConnect International and then follow us and connect with us on LinkedIn. Thank you once again for this program. Thank you once again, Leah, for speaking to us. And I hand over back to Jess.
Thank you so much, Elo. Thank you so much for keeping us up to date. And just as a reminder, we have our conference coming up on October the 8th. It's going to happen in the beautiful city of Johannesburg, and we are hoping to see you all there. Pay attention to our social media because we're going to be releasing our early bird tickets and you don't want to miss out. As a part of the We community, you will definitely have access to some special discounts. So make sure you're there to connect, to grow your business, and to make sure you leverage opportunities and foster these partnerships that we've been talking about. I would like to extend gratitude to our speaker of the day. Leah, thank you so much for making the time. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us, your insights. We really appreciate you. I believe that a lot of us are still going back, not only to the slides, but everything that you mentioned, the examples that you gave, because we're still resonating with it. Those are like things that we see every day, and it was good to have someone break it down and kind of give us hacks in terms of how to approach it. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. And we're hoping to see you here next on the next events. To our women-owned businesses, you're amazing. Thank you for being here today. We're hoping to see you on the next Africa Dialogues, and come prepared, come guns loaded to share who you are, who's your business, where can we find you, and come prepared to speak up. If you don't speak up, if you're not seen, you're not remembered. So make sure that if you're in a room, people remember you for something. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. This is the end of our session. Make sure you enjoy your night. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Informa, please reach me. I dropped my email on the chat, and I will help you with what you need.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lucia. Great advice.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Thank
Brenda.
you.
Thank you, Rev.
Bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Where's this thing?
Bye, ladies.
Bye.
Bye, Mary. Bye, Lucia.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, ma'am.
Bye. Bye, Ife. Okay.
Alrighty.
Whew. Let me
Well
stop the
done. That was nice.